Welcome to another episode of the Work Hard, Play Hard podcast. My name is Rob Murgatroyd, and each week on this podcast, I talk to some of the most fascinating people on the planet in all areas of life, from mindset to fitness to spirituality and, of course, business. Look, I believe you deserve success in all the areas of your life, not only business. But before we get into today's show, you may want to join us on our next Work Hard, Play Hard experience. This year, we're going to be going to Mykonos and Marrakesh. In these experiences, I have hand-selected a group of high-performing business people who are seeking more balance, connection, and they want to celebrate their wins as a reward for the hard work that they put in. If you want someone to curate once-in-a-lifetime experiences and force you to play more, rush over to workhardplayhardexperience.com. Fill out an application so we can jump on a discovery call to see if this is a good fit for you. And remember, excuses are over. It's time to live.
But I think the biggest thing is not necessarily me being an entrepreneur, but me being a leader. And yes, having interest in business and all of these other things, but more so being able to go out and find people who are really, really good, better than me at necessary skills within business and helping them as a leader. The business didn't have to stop because of me. Somebody else could be working and making money and generating revenue. So let me find someone else that can help. Let me find other people that can help. Whether it be just as a friend or a mentor or whatever, I truly want to be able to take the things that I've learned and provide that knowledge to other people.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Work Hard, Play Hard show. Today on the show is Bryce Wilson. So, who is Bryce Wilson? Bryce is this 24-year-old kid who started a company called Ticket Rescue, which is essentially buying tickets from people who can't go to an event, reselling them, and making a profit. Just an idea that he came up with, and he started growing and growing and growing. Started from nothing, and then hits $1 million in sales. And so he's like, whoa, this is great. We're going to keep this thing going. And then boom, COVID hits. No events are allowed anywhere. So in this episode, we talk about how he handled that, how he pivoted, and how he's completely reinvented his business. You're going to learn a lot from this 24-year-old. So give it a listen. Let me know what you think about it, and shoot me a message in the comments and let me know how you're pivoting in business right now during this period. So please enjoy this conversation with Bryce Wilson. Bryce, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
I'm super pumped to have you on the show because you and I were both in Chris Harder's mastermind together. And every time we went back to the mastermind, there was massive growth from the previous time. You're not an old guy, you're a pretty young guy. So watching that growth was super impressive. And I want to sort of like go into a little bit about that hyper growth, but I also want to talk a bit about why you started the company, how you're dealing with COVID, which I know is probably insane given the kind of company that we're going to talk about in a minute, and how you're pivoting personally and professionally. You cool with that?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So in 2017, you started a company called Ticket Rescue. What is Ticket Rescue and why did you start it?
So the concept behind Ticket Rescue, which in the old days, it was Ticket Pickers, now Ticket Rescue. But the idea behind it was people have event tickets, whether it be concert, sports, theater, and life gets in the way. Something happens, whether you get a flat tire or you get sick. There are things that will come up and disable your, opportunity to go to events. And the process of selling tickets, which are obviously still worth money, and there are still people who want to go attend that event, is not a very simple process. So what we do is if somebody can no longer use their tickets, we come in and we say, hey, we'll buy your tickets for a set rate, guaranteed. You give them to us and we go and find a buyer. So it's similar to that of a CarMax or a car dealership where we'll buy this from you directly. Easy. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to deal with it. And then we go and find someone to fill that seat. And that, I mean, I didn't really start it for a reason. I kind of started it on accident. It was something that I stumbled into and was just messing around with one summer there between my junior and senior year of college. And it took off. I enjoyed it. I loved it and continued on after college.
So why get in that space? There's so many other spaces that you could have chosen. Was it that you just made that attempt to get into it? It worked, and you figured, what the heck? It looks like there's an opportunity here. I'm going to go all in on it.
Yeah, I mean, I was always still am kind of a wheeler and dealer, I guess you could say. Grew up buying and selling shoes and just always flipping things. Did it a little bit with tickets. And honestly, I'm a big sports fan. I'm a big fan of music, but I've never been a massive live events fan. But what drew me in was the business aspect of it. I always tell people I don't really, I like events, but I don't care. I shouldn't say I don't care, but I don't have any huge passion for tickets. I do have a huge passion for business and leading people and developing and growth and all of those things. So I think that's what has kept me around. The tickets are just kind of the vehicle of that.
Okay, a couple of things I want to go into with you. One is when you mentioned about the business with Ticket Rescue, when you're buying tickets from somebody, how do you if you guarantee that you're going to buy every ticket, if you do, how do you know you're going to sell it?
Well, we don't. We have a pretty high success rate, but essentially we are looking into everything about that event, the artist, the location, the past sales data, gathering all the information we can in order to determine a price. So we obviously buy it at a discount of what we think it's worth so that we can make a margin, but we're buying it at a discount, which enables us to then be the most competitive price out there. And we are taking on that risk. That's a big selling point for us is, maybe you can sell this ticket for more, or maybe you don't sell it at all. And it's after the event happens, it's obsolete. So we take on that risk from people, and we have stuff that we eat. We have stuff that we end up giving away. But it's about 1% of tickets that don't end up selling. So we do our research, and we've done it enough to where we know what's going to sell and what's not. And there are times, people will reach out and they've got tickets to their 10-year-old softball game, and we can't buy those tickets. Those aren't selling anywhere, but we're usually buying higher profile type stuff, and we know what has sold in the past. So it's easy to make an educated decision.
What is the most expensive ticket you've ever sold?
Oh man, we had Game 7 courtside, not courtside, but like center court for Warriors Cavs, and I think that was 2018. Also had glass seats to the Stanley Cup. So those were two of the memorable ones.
And what did they sell for?
I think the basketball ones were upwards of $5,000 a piece. I mean, it was crazy.
And how much negotiating do you like? So let's just use the $5,000 basketball one. So the guy calls up and he says, "Hey man, I can't use this ticket. Here's my ticket." And you say, "Okay, I'll give you $500." And he's like, "No way, you can get thousands for these." How much of those conversations happen?
People always push back, but we offer the best we possibly can. We have an idea of what we want our margins to be, and we offer the highest possible price. It's also an efficiency thing. So we're trying to get as many people in and taken care of as quickly as we can. So back and forth is an inefficient process. We offer the best possible price we can, and people will say, well, if we offer 100, they'll say, well, what about 120? And we just have a scripted response that says we offer the best we can. There's no negotiation here. And that's that. We say it as nice as we possibly can, but we truly are doing the best we possibly can and avoiding all negotiations because it's a time saver for us and for our customers.
So the no negotiation thing I'm really fascinated with, because it is such a pain in the ass to go buy a car and to spend the day with the back and forth. You don't know where the bottom line is. You don't know where the bullshit is. And I'm bringing the manager in. I'm going to, we've all been there.
Yep.
So, but then CarMax, the example you used earlier, comes along and they're like, yeah, no negotiation. This is the price. So I love the fact that you're doing that. And I love the fact of what you just said, that it becomes, I had never thought of that before. It becomes efficient because it's speed.
Yep.
I mean, when I think about wasting 8 hours in a car dealership going back and forth with, I saw this price on Consumer Reports, or my buddy got this, at this dealership, and I saw this online. All of that goes out the window. And if there was one price, then there's just one price, and that's all you have to pay. So I love the fact that you put that in there. I want to talk a little bit about how you built the company. So you initially started this just on Twitter and Facebook. How do you use those platforms to grow your business, or how did you use, or if you still do, without paying ads? In the beginning, you didn't buy ads, right? It was all organic.
Yeah. So you could call it organic, or it was paid for in some regard, but essentially we just went out and found people. And it got to the point in the early stages, we were going out and finding people looking to sell their tickets and directing them, or saying, hey, we will help you here. And it got to the point where it became so many people, and everybody was having a good experience, that it spread. Word of mouth is the best marketing tool you can possibly have. So it spread organically. And honestly, it was an amazing thing for us, because it allowed for steady growth, but it also allowed for us to be able to handle it. I think there was always that little bit of fear in the back of my mind of what happens if tomorrow morning there's, a huge news release about us, and everybody knows we're not going to be able to handle it. We're running around with our hair on fire, trying to deal with 300-400 people a day. What happens if it's 10x? So that organic method, organic growth, enabled us to be able to handle it and scale slowly and do a really good job.
Yeah, you scaled within your ability to be able to scale, and you didn't get any more handed to you than you were able to process. Where did your business education come from? Because at 24 years old, which is what you are now, which is crazy, because you started this company how long ago? 3 years?
A little over 3 years, yeah.
Okay, so where did this come from? Is it your parents? Is it self-taught? Is it through, just sort of like natural abilities? But, you have a very founder, startup-y kind of thing. And maybe it's my age. Maybe that didn't exist in my world, and it does, with the Zuckerbergs of the world at your age. But where do you think yours came from?
I think it's a combination of everything you said. I mean, neither of my parents were entrepreneurial. I didn't really have anybody in my life that was entrepreneurial, but I did learn so much about leadership from my parents. And throughout my life, from mentors, growing up, playing sports in college, I learned so much about leadership throughout that, and really had a passion for leadership. I think a lot of it was something I was born with. Like I said, I always had that little bit of entrepreneur in me. I didn't study it in school. I've read tons and tons of books. There's definitely a self-taught aspect of it. But I think the biggest thing is not necessarily me being an entrepreneur, but me being a leader. And yes, having interest in business and all of these other things, but more so being able to go out and find people who are really, really good, better than me at necessary skills within business, and helping them as a leader. So it's not necessarily me being a very smart businessman. It's more so me being very good at finding people that are good, finding people that are better than me, and just not messing them up, really.
Mm-hmm. Getting out of their way. How did your parents teach you leadership? What was it about their ability to teach that? Were they in careers that were in a leadership role, or why do you point to them as teaching you leadership?
I think the majority of it comes from my dad. And he coached. He's a coach. He coached me in soccer. He coached me in basically everything I did. Multiple state championships in tennis. Went to the Final Four in soccer. Has coached pretty much his whole life. But I think just watching and observing and seeing how, I think there's so many leaders that are yell, 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 do whatever you can to amp somebody up. And whether it's breaking them down or making them feel bad about themselves or whatever it is, so many people do that. And I've seen my father take a completely different approach in being calm and kind and loving and truly, truly caring about the people that he's leading. And it's just yielded amazing results for him and amazing results for those individuals. And I think that that's just something that I've admired my entire life, but truly taken on. And beyond that, I've also had some very bad coaches that, I don't want to say bad coaches, but maybe not the best people, the best style of leadership, that I've learned so much of what not to do as well. So I think a lot from my father, a lot from just all the people that have been leaders to me growing up.
Yeah, right. Contrast, having the contrast of, your father who is just so good at what he does and doing it in such a loving way. And then all of a sudden you get somebody who's just not as skilled as that and thinks that they're going to, just browbeat you or yell at you or scream at you to get you to do something. It's just that contrast is like, wait a minute. I just don't want to deal with that. I love that. And was your dad a professional coach? Is that what he did as a career, or did he have another career as well?
So he's right now an athletic director at a high school. So he coaches the tennis team, the soccer team, coach club sports. He's not I guess he was a professional coach early on in his career, coaching in college. He coached women's soccer and women's basketball. Yeah.
Let's talk about money. Your first year was 100,000 in sales, and your second year was 1 million in sales. Mm-hmm. What were the inflection points that were responsible for that hockey stick growth?
I think one was being able to focus 100% on the business. The first year I was playing soccer. I was in my senior year of college playing soccer. I was doing it on the weekends. And when I was finally able to give 100% to the business, well, I was still in school, but I was sitting in the back of class working on my business. But I was able to give 100%, and I was also able to bring on help, which was massive. I kind of figured out early on that if I wanted to grow this thing, I couldn't do it on my own, and that the business didn't have to stop because of me. Somebody else could be working and making money and generating revenue. I didn't have to be there. So I think that was a big aha moment of, oh God, there's a lot more hours in the day and I can't work all of them. So let me find someone else that can help. Let me find other people that can help.
Yeah, got it. Now, we also initially talked about the mastermind. You were in a mastermind that I was in too. In what ways do you think the mastermind helped you?
I think just being around people like me, in the sense of them being entrepreneurs and looking at the world. I think you know this, Rob. The entrepreneur mind is very different. I feel like we see the world from such a different lens than a lot of other people. And like I said, I never had anybody in my life that was entrepreneurial, and it was just almost weird for me. I was almost a little bit of an outcast. So I think to just be surrounded by people that were similar thinking was very good for me to be able to bounce ideas and learn and all of those things. But beyond that, it was such a scary room to be in, to be honest. Like I walked in and I'm sitting down at the table with someone who tells me their net worth is $55 million. And I felt about 2 inches tall, but it was either sink or swim. And I know nobody else in that room looked at it that way, or looked at me as, oh, he might not survive. But for me, it was like, oh my God. I walked in on my high horse thinking, I'm running a $1 million company, and realized that there's a lot of growth to be had, both personally and professionally.
Yeah, what's so beautiful about that is, yes, I get it. On the one hand, you're looking, okay, well, I'm the small fish in the room. And the other hand is the only non-renewable resource in life is time, right? And we can't, us old guys or girls can't get back what it was like to be 24 again. It's great having a big pile of cash, but to, that just because many of the people in that room didn't start at as young as you. They started much older. And, there was a beautiful level of excitement associated with, sort of your age, and people going like, how the heck? He must be an old soul. This must be his second time around in life, or third time in past life. I don't know what it is, but the guy is so young and has it so together. All right. So I want to switch gears and take this into reality, because there is a little thing going around now called COVID-19, and your business was entirely dependent on events. COVID-19 has now said as a result of COVID-19, there are no more events. So I guess the first question is, what was your initial reaction when you first heard of events potentially being canceled? Let's go back to like before it happened.
Oh man. I mean, there was never a events potentially being canceled. It went from 0 to 100 for me. I was so optimistic until there was no way to be optimistic. So it was just, I had so much belief. And then all of a sudden the CDC said, no gatherings over 50 people. And the NBA said they're shutting down entirely. March Madness got canceled. It all happened so fast. And I mean, I had my 2 minutes of
pity party.
Like, this is the worst possible thing that could be happening to this business at the current moment. And then I'm such a control what you can control person. And, I immediately switched to my mind to, this is going to be amazing. And we're going to walk away from this and say that this is the best possible thing that could have happened to us. I'm a huge believer that with every failure or, all darkness, there is opportunity and light. So I immediately flipped to, where's the light? Where's the opportunity in this? And let's come out of this with, whether it be two businesses or a better this or that, whatever it may be, let's be able to look back and say that was a great time,
So first I want to talk about damage control and what you did to protect you, your employees. And then I want to talk about the optimistic side of you, of how you're pivoting and what strategies you have in place to keep the business afloat, to maybe change into a different kind of business, et cetera. So let's begin with damage control. So now you get the news, it's all shut down. You realize that, it's not shut down for a week, that is shut down for at least the entire season, maybe longer. What did you do immediately to go into damage control, if anything, to fix it?
Yeah, so this was tough for me. I think this is probably one of the heaviest moments of my life, especially in business, definitely the heaviest moment of my business career. But I had to kind of separate myself from we have such a family-like environment. And I had to separate myself from that and say, what do I need to do to put the business and the majority of people in a safe place? So there were 2 people that we had just brought on about a week ago that I had to let go. Beyond that, my team is awesome and they're all 100% on board. A lot of people took pay cuts. Pretty much everybody took pay cuts down to as much as they could. And we were able to luckily leverage some government funding. We got the PPP loan and we got on with it. We pivoted. Did
you get the EIDL?
Yes, we got that as well.
Great. So those 2 things were helping you to keep you afloat and to keep the employees paid, and they were willing. And this is a key issue here. Many employees could have went, screw this, I'm going to get unemployment, I'm out of here. Like this is going to fold. But because of who you are and their relationship with you, they said, we're staying and we're going to take a pay cut. Did I get that right?
Yep, absolutely.
That's amazing. I mean, you have a lot to be proud of there. Okay. Now let's move forward and let's talk about how you're pivoting for the future. How are you seeing this business functioning in the future when every single day it seems like we're getting locked down even more?
Yeah. So, I mean, you talk about my team being willing to take pay cuts and how amazing that is. Go even further and realize that I came into our next meeting and said, listen, guys, tickets is shut down. It's going to be shut down for a really long time. Let's start something else. Let's figure out, we don't have tickets, but we have a genius graphic designer. We have a genius finance guy. We have a good
Great
leader.
team.
We've got vision. We've got an amazing team. We've got all the assets. Where else can we apply this? Because we're not good at tickets. We're not good at events. We're good at business. So we had a meeting and we played stupid idea time. Just threw stuff at the wall. We were like, what could we do? What can we build? How can we create something that's going to start generating revenue and start generating it fast? We had our runway and said, all right, we've got this amount of time. We've got to generate X by that amount of time. And let's do it. So we ended up deciding on, and really it was trial and error. We just started trying stuff out. We started trying out, one of our ideas was email marketing for high school recruits trying to play in college. And that was a bust. Very quickly shut down. And what we ended up sticking on was working with personal brands and leveraging. We have an amazing team in the Philippines, leveraging them to help learn people's stories, learn their message, understand that they are only one person and can only spread that message so far without help. And going in and saying, hey, we want to help you spread this message far and wide, learn everything about them and go out through social media, Instagram engagement, and help them spread their message. And that's what we've stuck on. And we've been able to build it pretty quickly. It's been crazy. And it's been so much fun.
So let me make sure I got this right. Do you know who Rory Vaden is?
I do not, no.
Okay, so I just did an interview with Rory Vaden. I think he is my last interview in the feed, so go take a listen to that. He's got a company called Brand Builders, which is doing pretty much what you just described. He was Lewis House's coach who got Lewis to get out of all of the other things that he was doing that was not what he loved doing and not where all of his money was coming from. So 20% of, he basically said to him, where's most of your money coming from? And he said, well, probably 80% is coming from the podcast in some way, shape, or form. Where's the other 20%? Well, it's all over the place. I'm speaking, I write books, I'm doing courses online. And he got him to go all in and redirect everything into the thing that was producing all the money. Because what you don't realize is, like, if you're going speaking as an example, there's a whole thing. You have to have the bandwidth of the team that books it, that prepares it. You got to get on a plane. You got to go to the hotel. You got to do the talk. You lose a couple of days. So he got him unscattered and focused on that. And what he does is he works with people on the high end. Lewis is a client, Shalene Johnson's a client, a bunch of other people that are super high end. But he also works with people that are very, very young, who are just starting out in the world, and helps them build the brand. So I think you're going to get a lot out of that.
That's awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, really, really cool. Okay, so now is the ticket company done, folded, put on pause, or what's your thoughts there?
It's just put on pause. I mean, it'll come back around sooner or later. It's just a question of when. I mean, really, nobody has any idea. It might be a year. It might be a couple months. They might be doing 25% capacity at venues. They might, we could have a vaccine tomorrow and stuff could turn on really quickly. It's just, we've gotten to the point now where we're not setting any expectations. Early on, we were saying, maybe August, probably like latest September. It's going to come on, latest possible date would be September. And now we're saying, well, will stuff be back around in summer of 2021? I mean, we're looking a year out and we're still unsure. So really it's, hey, we'll know a couple months in advance when stuff is about to turn back on. And when that happens, we'll be ready. I mean, nothing is going to change. Our business structure is still there. It's still
Right.
all
And you
set
have
in
the
place.
infrastructure in place. You just need to hit play again. It's very strange. I was thinking about you the other day. I just flew to Cabo, and I was sitting in a bar, and I just needed to get away from the COVID stuff. I'm in LA now, and it's just, the lockdown is insane.
Mm-hmm.
So I went out to Cabo, and we're sitting in a bar, and I was watching a game, baseball game. And they had like fake people sitting in the seats. It was like little cardboard people sitting in the seats. I was like, what the fuck? Like, am I on Mars? Like, what is happening? Like, it's insane. When you see that, are you triggered by any of that? Or is it just, like, does somebody need to talk you off a ledge?
Oh, not at all. I mean, it's almost comical. I don't know how I feel about the fake people in the stands or blow up dolls or whatever they have. Mm-hmm. But it's just, it's so crazy.
Bizarre, right?
It's insane.
Well, okay. So things have now changed for you in your life, and you've pivoted, and you clearly are handling this with grace and elegance, as I knew you would, which is probably why you're going to have 10 companies, and the 10th one is going to be the $100 million one, and you're going to learn each one. There's no question in my mind about that. And personally, you are now going all in on an RV. Why did you buy an RV, and why are you traveling around with it?
Oh man, I don't even know. It all happened so fast.
I don't know. I woke up and there I was. I was sitting in the back. I saw Chris Harder driving around in this, it looks like Prince's come back from the dead and he's doing a tour bus, and you're in an RV. Like, where did this come from?
Well, we set the intention for this year to travel, and we had everything mapped out. We were going to spend 3 months in Spain, and we were going to go to California, and we were going to just nomad it and live in Airbnbs. And then all of this stuff happened, and the air travel was questionable. Airbnbs were questionable. International travel was no shot at all. And we kind of said, all right, we'll just figure it out. We're not going to let anything get in our way. We can, almost a little arrogantly, he said, we can do whatever we want. Like, we'll figure it out. So
because you can.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we, by the way, is you and your girlfriend, right?
Yes. And the dog.
Okay.
Got the dog.
Your girlfriend and the dog. And how long have you two been, what's her name, and how long have you two been together?
Her name is Michaela, and we've been together, we're coming up on 9 years now. High school sweethearts.
That is incredible. Okay, so now you and Michaela, and you are based out of which state?
I guess you could say Florida. I've been in Denver for the past couple years, but Florida is home.
Florida is home, and you've been in Denver why in Denver? You just like it, or was there like tax reasons, or what was it about that?
No, it was just wanting to get away, wanting to experience something new. Coming out of college, me and Michaela both said, let's go somewhere. Let's, not that we don't absolutely love and adore everybody in Florida, but we wanted to kind of be on our own and experience something new. And it was the best thing in the world.
Okay. So now you guys, you buy the RV, and I'm assuming you buy it in Denver. You get in the thing, and you're like, we're just going to go drive. And so you drove, now you're in Sedona. So are you just going to continually circumnavigate the planet, or what's the plan?
Well, when we decided that we were going to buy an RV, in the span of about a month, we moved out of our apartment in Denver in 2 days, drove home to Florida, found an RV, renovated it, and hit the road. And by the time we decided we were buying an RV, we had within a month hit the road. So like I said, we move fast, but we really don't have much of an agenda. Early on, it was, we needed to get west. There was stuff in Los Angeles that we had to be there for really right now. We were supposed to be in Los Angeles, but we started heading west, and Los Angeles got canceled, and now we have no agenda. I mean, I don't even know where we're going to be tomorrow.
This is really amazing. By the way, this is the beautiful part of not having children. But this is so interesting to me, because you truly are living a nomadic, minimalist sort of life. And I wonder, if you would be where you are right now in this moment if you were still in the ticket business and there was no COVID?
No chance. None at all.
There's no chance, right? So we have these weird silver linings that happen that completely change the trajectory of our life because of what we think is, the worst thing that can happen winds up being, one of the best things that can happen. So let's dig into that for a second. I want to talk about what your life is like now. So, obviously when you've got the comforts of, living in your home in Denver and enjoying, just having like one place to be, you got a whole different set of circumstances now. You got 4 wheels. You're living in that. You've got to figure out where am I washing my clothes? Where am I going out to dinner? Like everything is upside down. Does it feel that way to you, or does it feel like I dig it? Like this is just great. I can keep doing this.
It's not crazy, and it sounds crazy to say that this is not a crazy life, but we have our home everywhere we go. And think about being on vacation, not having to worry about a hotel, not having to worry about a rental car or any of that stuff, and just always being able to go home. Whether you're in California or Florida or New York, you could just always be 20 minutes away from your house and have all your stuff there and your dogs there and your bed. So it has its challenges. I'm not going to lie about that. I'm currently sitting in a hotel room in Sedona because our RV was too hot in the 110 degree weather. And we said, we're not doing this. So there definitely has been challenges, but they're minuscule in comparison to the upsides. I this morning was able to get up at 5 a.m. and go walk across Devil's Bridge in Sedona and fly a drone around and take some pictures and come back, and I'm doing a podcast.
Yeah, it's kind of incredible. I'm a creature of habit. I like predictability. I like security. I like certainty. And my wife threw something similar on me a couple of, about 6 months ago, which is, hey, let's go travel around Europe for 4 months. And the first week or two, it was tough for me because it was like, I was like, I got to pack up again. I'm going to another place. But then after week 2, it became my norm. Like it was no longer weird or uncomfortable or different. It was like Tuesday for me. And then the reverse happens when we relocated and landed in LA, because we moved from Atlanta to LA. So we literally flew from Florence, Italy to LA to start our life here. After a week, I was like, well, shouldn't we be going to Montenegro or something now? Like, what the fuck are we doing sitting here? Do you know what I mean? It was like the reverse happened. Yeah. So I guess your brain can sort of get used to anything.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the things I wanted to talk to you about today is I want to kind of dig into some of the things that you do personally that's adding to more fulfillment, because I believe that, you have a really beautiful balance. Most entrepreneurs I work with are just type A, I will eat your eyes, or I'll work until my eyeballs pop out. And they really don't get the art of fulfillment. They dominate the science of achievement. They're really good at making money. They're really good at growing a business, but they don't have the side that we're discussing, which is the art of fulfillment. And if I boil down to the work that I do in these podcasts and with my events, et cetera, is I'm really trying to get people to play harder. So I love the fact that you naturally at this age are moving more into that art of fulfillment and that art of play, because I think that is what makes you successful. So I want to dig in our remaining time here. I want to dig into how you sort of think about that. And I think maybe a good question to start that sort of area would be, is there one rule that you have for yourself that you're never going to break?
Oh, man. I think that it would be always putting my mental and physical health first. I'm a huge believer that if I am not operating at 100%, I can't give 100% to my relationship. I can't give 100% to my business. I can't give 100% to my family. So I put myself first, and I do all the things I have to do, whether it's meditation or reading or walks or all of the personal stuff, in order to fill up my own cup so that I can fill up others and operate at 100% capacity elsewhere.
So let's run that down. What is sort of like, give me your top 3 to 5 things that you know that when you don't do these things, your mental capacity, for lack of a better word, is compromised.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not super strict with any of the stuff I do. It's more of a flow and a feel type thing. But the things that have been huge for me, meditation has been incredible. It's, I mean, I think everybody has the monkey brain that never stops. I read something in a book that said, spend a day looking at your inner voice as a different person, and you'll realize that it's absolutely crazy. You're living with a crazy person.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
So meditation.
I call mine Nigel. He's a gay British director. And I'm like, shut the fuck up, Nigel. I can't anymore with you.
Oh, man. You've got an alter ego in your head.
I got the whole thing. Once Nigel starts talking, it makes me laugh.
Oh, man. I mean, I think everybody's like that. So meditation's been awesome for me to quiet the mind. Journaling is something that I bounce back and forth with and don't really have a set practice. Mm-hmm. But I go back to it consistently because it's a great check-in for me. I mean, I never sit down and say, how is Bryce? How am I doing? Like people say, hey, how are you? And I say, good. How are you? But journaling allows me, just something about putting a pen on paper allows me to actually have a check-in with myself and truly get an understanding of how I'm doing. And it's just something about pen and paper. Reading is huge. I love reading. Quality time with Michaela and with the dog, walks, hikes, stuff like that. Exercise is big.
Is it difficult for you to get private time being so close together?
No, I think one, we like each other, which is good. Mm-hmm. It definitely helps. But we have our own routines and practices and ways of getting away, even though we might be in the same room. Yeah, we're still able to separate from each other. And I've got golf. I go in golf and I'm going to basketball courts and getting a little me time. But it's
headphones are good for that, aren't they?
Headphones are great. Headphones are a good thing. And I think beyond that, we're both so aware and accepting of the fact that we need our own time. Like, I can only take so much of being with somebody, and she's the same way, and we respect that. And I mean, we've already said to each other, hey, I just need a day. Like, I love you, but I need a day to myself. Can you leave, or can I leave? Can we just chill? And it's, we don't get upset about it. We just accept it. That's what we need in order to show up fully in our relationship. That's
really, really great. If you could spend 1 month anywhere in the world, where would it be and why? Let's say COVID goes away.
Oh, man. It would be the mountains in Denver, and it would be during the winter. Just snowboarding and fluffy snow. Man, it just does something to me.
I love that. With every new level comes a new devil. What are you currently struggling with now?
I think a big thing that I struggle with, and I've always struggled with, is asking for help, and with that, finding mentors. That's been a very, very tough thing for me. And I think that a lot of it is how I'm wired, trying to, I don't want to say, I have a tough time listening to others. I always want to have my own opinions. And I think it's hindered that area. So that's something that I constantly
It's a blessing and a curse, right?
Yep.
Certainly some things it's been responsible for your growth. Other things you're like, I should have listened to them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get it. What would your friend say is one of your superpowers?
Oh God, depends which friend you ask.
Yeah.
I would probably discipline. I think I'm very structured in a good way.
What kinds of things keep you up at night?
Not much. I sleep pretty well. I if there's anything, it's ideas. I'm an ideas guy and constantly have new ideas of whether it's how we can automate our Amazon purchases to make life more efficient, or the new hire that we just brought on. It's new ideas.
Got it. What book have you reread the most?
Ooh, there are two that come to mind. 4-Hour Workweek is one that I picked up multiple times and always get something new out of. And War of Art is a good one for creatives. Creatives struggling with being creatives.
Yeah, that it's not procrastination. What's the word he uses in that book? He talks about it over and over again. I'm trying to think of what it is, but every time I read it, I'm like, yeah, I got that.
Yeah.
It'll hit me as soon as I end the podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. So before we wrap up here, are there any final words, suggestions, or an ask for people that are listening?
Honestly, I want to connect with more people. And I think that with me looking for more mentors and more people to look at in my life, I want to be that person to others, whether it be just as a friend or a mentor or whatever. I truly want to be able to take the things that I've learned and, provide that knowledge to other people, share my journey, share my experiences. And that would be my ask, would be reach out to me. If you have any questions, if there's anything that you're curious about, if you just want to connect. I'm in a stage right now where maybe it's me being a little lonely out here on the road, but I want to connect with more people.
Okay, awesome. We can certainly do that. We'll link up all of your socials in the show notes. Final question: what one question would you like to ask me?
Ooh, that's a good one. Have you always gone by the work hard, play hard motto? Is that something that you learned along the way?
Great question. Nobody's ever asked that one. I would say that for the first 10 years of my life, it was work hard. For the second 10 years of my life, because I threw the pendulum, 10 years, I'm saying postgraduate school.
Okay.
The second 10 years was because I swung the pendulum so hard in work. I was like, fuck it, I'm going partying.
Yep.
And I was, traveling around the world in Saint-Tropez, spraying champagne, spending money like it was never going to end, and spending exactly what I made. And if I didn't have enough that year, I'd put it on a credit card and figure out how to pay it back. And then I finally was like, wait a minute, this is crazy. Like, I have an entrepreneurial side and I have a play side. Why can't I just find a way to balance the two of them? And what would that balance look like? And it's changed through the years, but it started with something like, I've been taking, 4 weeks a year. What if I pushed it and did 8 weeks a year? What if I went all in on the business and took 8 weeks? And then it was like, what if I went all in on the business and took 12 weeks? And then it was, what if I sold the business and then did the things that I really want to do, which is to take entrepreneurs with me on these trips. So I was making money by taking the entrepreneurs with me, and I was connecting the business part, and I was spraying champagne with them in Saint-Tropez. And that's the evolution of how that happened. Did that answer it?
Yeah, that's awesome. We don't have to choose. We can have both. We can have all the things.
Yeah, you got it. And the next one, COVID willing, I feel like that's my new saying now. COVID willing, will be in Marrakesh with a group of another 20 entrepreneurs.
Nice.
And, riding camels. So we're super excited about that. Well, listen, man, I cannot thank you enough for taking the time to do this. I'm super proud of you. I'm a big fan. I'm an admirer of what you're doing. And I love the grace that you are handling all of this. This could have been like, I'm going to go flip hamburgers at McDonald's because my baby is dead. That's not the approach that you took. You literally just turned this thing around, made lemonade out of lemons, and are living, as the kids say, your best life. So thank you so much for taking the time.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And I send all that admiration right back at you.
All right. Thanks for listening. If you love this episode and you know someone that needs some help in either stepping up their work hard game or their play hard game, it would mean the world to me if you shared this podcast with them to help me get this movement out there. So if you like what you heard, head on over to iTunes, take 30 seconds and leave me a 5-star review, and I will be forever grateful. So until the next episode, excuses are over. It's time to live.